My dear students, I welcome all of you for today's session on system modeling and simulation. In this session, let me see, let me have a discussion about how we can simulate any system given its instance using simulation table. Now, coming to agenda of today's session. At first, let me simulate a simple queuing system using simulation table. Okay, and after we simulate a simple queuing system using simulation table. Let me look at one more example, one more system, grocery center. Okay, so I said some steps. Okay, see, when we are going to simulate any system using simulation table, what's the first and foremost thing you need to know? The first step is we need to determine the characteristics of each of the inputs to the simulation. I repeat, the first and foremost thing while you simulate any system using simulation table is to determine the characteristics of each of the inputs to the simulation. Usually, the inputs are modeled as probability distributions. Got it? I mean, usually the inputs will be in the form of probability distribution. But before we see in the form of probability distribution, okay, I will directly specify the inputs. Okay, I will directly specify the input values. Okay, now before I proceed to simulate a simulation of queuing system, okay, uh, so what are the two inputs, usual inputs we are going to consider in queuing system? Say, for example, banking system. We discussed earlier, right? So you remember there are two usual inputs in case of queuing system. Say, for example, banking system. What are those? They are the inter-arrival times and the service times. I hope all of you remember, right? I've discussed, I've taken case of banking system quite often, quite frequently, right? And I have discussed about two usual inputs. One is inter-arrival time and the service time. Okay. So in first example, what I'll do, I will give you the values. Okay. Let me say in these two examples to make you understand easily. Okay. I will simulate for say some n customers. I mean, I'm going to tell you n is fixed. Okay, you should remember. Okay, in previous session I said, okay, that in tabular form there was one variable n. I told that n may be fixed or may be variable. Got it? So here in to make you understand easily, to solve any simulation problems, I will consider in this case n to the fixed. I mean, I'm simulating for say for some 6 customers. Okay, assume I'm simulating for some 6 customers. I mean, I will track when they will arrive to system. I will track when their service will begin. I will track when they will depart from the system. Got it? And after tracking this, okay, I will analyze some performance parameters. Got it? So in my first example, okay, simulation of queuing system, this inter-arrival times and service times, I will give explicitly, I will explicitly state you the values of inter-arrival times and service times for each customers. Okay. Whereas in second example, that is grocery center, I won't tell you what actually I mean, I won't fix with the inter-arrival times and service time. Okay. In the second example, I'll make use of some random number generators. The random number generator will tell us what will be the next inter-arrival time and what will be the service time. Got it? See the difference in these two examples. So in first example, I will tell you, say for example, I am simulating for 6 customers. Okay, I'll tell you the 5 inter-arrival times. What are the 5 inter-arrival times? Why 5 inter-arrival times? Why not 6? Because you remember the first customer is assumed to arrive at time 0. There is no inter-arrival time for first customer because there's no customer who has arrived before first customer, right? Got it. So there are 5 inter-arrival times, but for each 6 customers there are service times. So I'm going to give you 6 service times. Explicitly I've stated 5 inter-arrival times and 6 service times. Whereas in grocery center, what I said, I will give you the probability distribution. I'll tell you the probability distribution for inter-arrival times and service time. Got it? Then I'll make use of random number generator to decide what will be the next inter-arrival time and next service time. Okay, clear? So now let me have a look at simulating a queuing system. Okay. So now, see, all of you listen cautiously. This is the first problem we are solving using simulation table. It's very easier, okay? And if you're not able to understand, it will even the simple problem to be complicated. So I request all of you to listen cautiously, okay? So now, now what I said, I'm simulating a queuing system. So consider banking system, okay? Got it? And in this case, I'm simulating for 6 customers. Got it? So what I said, the first and foremost step is you need to determine characteristics of each of the inputs to simulation. And what are the possible inputs? Inter-arrival time and the service time. Got it? So see here, look at the first table. Okay, the first table is nothing but an input. This is an instance of the system and for which you need to simulate. Got it? So in this instance, okay, see here, first column represents the number of customers. Got it? Customer 1, customer 2, customer 3, customer 4, customer 5, customer 6. Clear? I'm simulating for 6 customers. And the second column gives service times for each of these customers. Okay. I mean, the first entry in service time, okay, that is 2. Okay. What it states means the service time for customer 1 is 2 minutes. If let me consider the unit to be minutes, okay. The service time for first customer is 2 minutes. It means whether the let me say if I consider banking system, okay, the customer might have come for deposit or withdrawal of loan and whatever it be, but it's transaction, okay, I mean it's service. The moment it initiates, the moment the first customer service initiates, it will be finished within next 2 minutes. Got it? So similarly, service time for second customer is 1 minute. Service time for third customer is 3 minutes. Service time for fourth customer is 2 minutes. Service time for fifth customer is 1 minute. Service time for sixth customer is 4 minutes. Got it? Clear with this? So what actually what actual service time indicates? From the moment the transaction, the service begins for the ith customer to the moment is service ends. That is service time for that ith customer. Got it? Clear? So now look, see, there are six customers are given 6 service times because each customers will have service times. Got it? Because they have come for some service, right? So, but look at the third column, inter-arrival time. See, On the first entry of inter-arrival time, I've shown just a dash. Why dash? Because inter-arrival time is what? Is the time between the current arrival and the previous arrival. Got it? Or you can enter current arrival between the two consecutive arrivals. Okay. Okay. Let me assume to be precise. Let me tell you. Between two consecutive arrivals. Okay. So see, I've assume that simulation starts at time 0. Okay. Simulation always starts at time 0. This is my assumption. So as soon as simulation starts, first customer will arrive. So at what time first customer arrives? At time 0. Listen, I assume simulation always starts at time 0. So as soon as simulation starts, first customer will arrive. Got it? So before first customer, there are no other customers arrived, right? So there is no inter-arrival time for first customer. Got it? The first customer is going to arrive at time 0. So look at the second entry in inter-arrival time, that is 2. What the 2 actually indicates here? 2 is the time gap between the first arrival and second arrival. Okay, 2 is the time gap between the first arrival and second arrival. See, I assume the first arrival is at time 0, right? So second arrival will occur at time 2. Clear? Second arrival will occur at time 2. So third entry, it's 4, right? So what is that 4? Is the time gap between the second arrival and third arrival. So when second arrival occurred? At time 2. Clear? So third arrival will occur 4 minutes delay after second arrival. So second arrival arrived at time 2 means the third arrival will occur at 6. Clear? So when the third arrival occurred? At time 6. So look at the fourth entry, that is 1. So inter-arrival time 1 in fourth entry indicates 1 minute time gap between the third arrival and fourth arrival. So third arrival occurred at time 6. So fourth arrival will occur at time 7. Clear? Because 1 minute gap between third arrival and fourth arrival. So look at entry 2 in the entry 2, that is the fifth entry. Look at fifth entry, that is 2. Okay. So what it indicates is an inter-arrival time. It's a time gap between the fourth arrival and fifth arrival. When did fourth arrival occur? At time 7. Got it? Fourth arrival occurred at time 7. So fifth arrival will occur 2 minutes delay. Got it? That is at time 9. Clear with this? So similarly, the last entry in inter-arrival time, that is 6, it indicates time gap between the fifth arrival and sixth arrival. So when did fifth arrival occurred? At time 9. So fifth arrival occurred at time 9. So sixth arrival will occur 6 minutes delay. So at time 15. Clear with this? So got? So all of you got to know, right? So clear with the inputs. Okay. This is very simple problem. This is the basic problem. Okay. Once you're clear with this, you're able to solve all future problems which we will discuss. Got it? So what I said, now I'm simulating for a queuing system. First and foremost thing, I need to know the characteristics of each of the inputs. Usually there are 2 possible inputs. One is enter arrival time and service time. Got it? And in this example, I'm simulating for 6 customers. So NS fixed. I'm still simulating for 6 customers. Got it? So in this case, I've given you values of 6 service times and 5 inter arrival times. Means I'm not making use of random number generator or probability distribution in this case. Just as specified, What are those possible 6 service times? What are those 5 possible inter-arrival times? Okay. So now inputs are given. Now I need to solve, right? The second table shows the solution, and I'll tell you how we constructed this second table. Okay. I repeat, now with the inputs in the first table, now I'll tell you how to construct the second table. Okay. So to make you easily understand, okay, yeah, my mode performance parameter, let it be simple parameters. Say for example, to determine average service time or average waiting time. Okay, clear? See here, listen. So in this solution table, okay, what I want, listen cautiously. In this table, what I'm going to construct through the inputs, okay, I just want to track, listen, I just want to track when each of the 6 customers will arrive. I repeat, I just want to track when each of these 6 customers will arrive to queuing system. Apart from that, I will track when each of the 6 customers service will begin. Got it? I repeat, apart from tracking when each of the 6 customers will arrive, I will track when service for each of the 6 customers will begin. Because listen here, as soon as the customer arrives, okay, it doesn't imply service will begin immediately, because one of course for the first customer, service will begin immediately. Got it? But for the second or third, fourth customer, we can't say as soon as the customer comes, the service will begin. They may need to wait in a queue. They may need to be made to wait in a queue, right? Clear? So I repeat, in this table, I will track when each of the 6 customers will arrive. I will track when each of the 6 customers service will begin. Got it? Then I will track when each of the service customer will end. I will track when each of these 6 customer service will end. Service end. As soon as the customer service will end, what he will do? He will depart. He will depart from the system. Clear? Got it? So clear. What are 3 things I will track in this table? One, each of the 6 customers will arrive. When each of the 6 customers service will begin. When each of the 6 customers service will end. Okay. So now how to track? See here, I said n is fixed, right? That is, I'm simulating so 6 customers, so I need to create a 6 rows. See here, in first row that represents customer numbers, let it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See here, we need to fill row by row, not column by column. Okay, we need to fill row by row. See here, assume, since we are not having a board work, right? Just already a table has been constructed. Just listen to steps what I state. Okay, assume how I'm constructing the table row by row. Okay, see here, first what I said, I need to track arrival time of customer, right? So how I can track arrival time of customer? Through the inter-arrival time. So let the second column be inter-arrival. So with inter-arrival time, I can track arrival time. So then I need to track when service will begin. Okay, then let it be. Because as soon as the customer arrives, service may begin or may not begin. Okay, got it. So let me have one more column, time service begins. So if see, if I know when the service will begin, I know what's the service time, right? So even I can predict when service is going to end. Clear? See here, I given one more input, service time. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth column is service time. That's given input. Fourth column is service time begin. Time service begins, right? See here, I given service time for each customer. Listen, I given service time for each customer. If I know when service will begin for ith customer, I know when service will end for ith customer. Clear? Very clear, right? So, first and foremost, in here, I need to construct this table row by row. Okay, so what are the fields here? One is customer field. So I said I need to track arrival time. So to track arrival time of customer, I have given inter arrival time. That's the first input that is in the second column. Through inter arrival time, I'll compute the arrival time that is in the third column. Got it? So also I have given service time, right? Because suppose when the service time is given, got it? So through service time, I can determine both when service for a customer will begin and when service for a customer will end. Got it? So let me before filling, let me tell you there are two events: arrival event and departure event. See, what is an event? Some occurrence that causes the state of the system to change. What is an event? An occurrence that causes state of the system to change. See, let me consider one state variable, that is number of customers in a system. See, when a new customer arrives, what happens? When a new customer arrives, what happens? Number of customers will get increased by 1. State got changed, right? Means arrival of a customer is an event. This we call arrival event. Got it? Because arrival of a customer increases number of customers by 1. Means it caused the state of the system to change. So we call arrival of a customer as an event and we call it an arrival event. So when service finishes, what the customer will do, he will depart from the bank, right? He will depart from the system. Means as soon as the service ends, he will depart. Means number of customers in system gets decreased by 1. State got changed, means this is also an event. This we call departure event. Okay, now let me fill first row. So inter arrival time for first, listen cautiously. All of you listen cautiously. Look at the second table first row, how I'll fill those entries. So inter arrival time for first customer is what? It's nothing, right? It's dash. So when first customer will arrive? So arrival time of first customer is 0. Got it? So what is arrival time of first customer? 0. So first customer arrived at time 0. At time 0, what happens? Server is idle, right? Server is idle. So its service will begin immediately. So first customer will serve. First customer service will begin at time 0. Got it? Clear? So what is service time for first customer is 2. Got it? So service time is 2. So service for the first customer begins at time 0 and service is 2 minutes time. Service requires 2 minutes time. So when service will end? At time 2. Clear? So this is how I fill the first row. Clear? Here, inter arrival time is dash for first customer. So arrival time of first customer is at time 0. So service begins immediately at time 0. And the service time is stated as 2 minutes. Got it? So his service will end at 2. So this is how we fill the first row. Now coming to second row, what is inter arrival time? 2. So when the second customer will arrive at time 2. So when second customer arrives at time 2, whether the service will begin immediately? Yes, of course, because server was serving first customer and the service got immediately finished at time 2. Server becomes idle at time 2. So server service for second customer begin. Clear? Got it? At time 2, service of first customer ends. Service of at time, I repeat, at time 2, service of first customer ends. So immediately service for second customer begins. So what is service time for second customer? It's 1. Got it? So 1 is service will end at time 3. It's very clear, right? It begins at 2. It requires 1 minute time. So ends at time 3. Clear? So now let me tell you one inter-arrival time for third customer is 4. So one third customer inter-arrival time is 4. Means between the previous arrival and this third arrival, 4 minutes gap. Previous arrival at time 2, right? So this arrival is at time 6. Clear? So at time 6, when third customer arrived, server is idle. So his service begins immediately at time 6. Clear? Got it? The service begins immediately at time 6. So what is service time for third customer is 3. Got it? So when service will end? Current time 6, 3 minutes service time. So service will end at 9. Clear? Clear with this? Clear with this? Now coming to fourth inter-arrival time, it's 1. So fourth inter-arrival time is 1 means after third arrival, 1 minute time gap is there for fourth arrival. So third arrival occurred at time 6. So fourth arrival will occur at time 7. So this is very important step. Listen here. Fourth arrival occurs at time what? 7. Fourth arrival will occur at time 7. Listen, very important. Fourth arrival will occur at time 7. But at that moment, server is busy serving third customer. Is it? At time 7, when fourth customer arrived, server is busy serving third customer. So third customer service will end at time 9. So service for fourth customer will begin at time 9. I repeat, when fourth arrival occurred at time 7, server is busy serving third customer. Service of third customer will end at time 9. Got it? So service for fourth customer begins at time 9. Clear? At time 9. Okay. So then what is service time for second customer? Fourth customer is 2. So when service for a fourth customer will end, service for fourth customer initiate at 9, request 2 minutes time. So it will end at time 11. Clear? So next, okay. Now see here, fifth inter-arrival time is 2. Got it? So fourth arrival is at time 7. So fifth arrival is at time 9. Okay. So at time 9. Got it? So when fifth arrival occur at time 9, server is busy serving fourth customer. So service of fourth customer begins at time 11. So service of fifth customer begins at time 11. See, I repeat, when fifth arrival occurred at time 9, okay, service of fourth customer is in process. Got it? Service of fourth customer is in process. Service of fourth customer will end at 11. So service of fifth customer will begin at time 11. And service time for fifth customer is 1. Got it? So service of fifth customer will end at time 12. Clear? Got it? Now sixth inter-arrival time is 6. So previous, that is fifth arrival was at 9. So 6 minutes gap. it's implies sixth arrival is at time 15. Got it? So when sixth arrival occurred at time 15, service is idle, server is idle. See, sixth arrival sixth arrival occurs at time 15. At time 15, server is idle. So sixth customer service will begin immediately at time 15. Got it? So is service time for sixth customer is 4. So one service will end for sixth customer at time 19. So clear with this? So all of you are clear with this, right? Constructing a table. Okay. Right. Now let me tell you some of the first you be familiar with constructing a table. So apart from this, some other columns we can include. Okay, based on the objective we are interested in, based on the performance parameter we are want to estimate. Okay. So see here. Suppose I want to compute average waiting time. I want to compute average waiting time. Okay. Let me see how to determine average waiting time means, see, what is the waiting time of ith customer? Waiting time of ith customer is the time is the listen here, waiting time of ith customer. Waiting time of ith customer is nothing but the difference between the ith customer service begin time minus ith customer arrival time. See here, I repeat, waiting time of ith customer, waiting time of ith customer. Okay, it's nothing but difference between the ith customer service begin time minus ith customer arrival time. It means from the moment he arrived to the moment he was delayed before beginning a service. That is the waiting time of ith customer. Okay, so I should have included one more column. Look at the table. I should have included one more column, say with a waiting time. Okay, so then what I would have got in that waiting time for each customer, I could have determined. I repeat, I could have included one more column with a waiting time. Okay, then for each row I would have got entry, that is the waiting time of each customer. Okay, that's nothing but difference between service begin time minus arrival time. So now since I have not included, let me identify. Okay, so can anyone say what is waiting time for customer 1? Time, look at it, is nothing but difference between time service begins minus arrival time. It's very clear. Time service begins minus arrival time. So first customer waiting time is 0 minus 0, 0. Second customer waiting time is 2 minus 2, 0. Third customer waiting time is 6 minus 6, 0. Means the first 3 customers waiting time is 0. Clear? So if I have included one more column waiting time, the first 3 entries in that column would have been 0 because those 3 customers are not made to wait, because as soon as they arrive, their service has begun. But fourth customer arrived at time 7, but service begins at 9. So waiting time is 9 minus 7, 2. Got it? So waiting time for fourth customer is 9 minus 7, 2. Fifth customer's waiting time is similarly 11 minus 9, because he arrived at 9, delayed till 11. So 11 minus 9, that is 2. Got it? So listen here, 2 customers, fourth and fifth, have been made to wait in a queue. Listen, 2 customers, fourth and fifth, have been made to wait in a queue. Clear? For 2 minutes. Clear? So what about 6 customers? Waiting time 15 minus 15, 0. Clear? So I repeat, what you have analyzed in this, the customers 1, 2, 3 and 6 waiting time is 0. The waiting, I repeat, the waiting time for customers 1, 2, 3, and 6 are zeros. But waiting time for customers 4 and 5 are 2 minutes. 9 minus 7, that is 2. 11 minus 9, 2. So now you have waiting time of all the customers, right? All 6 customers. You sum it, divide by 6, that is average waiting time. See here, average waiting time is total time customers wait in a queue divided by total number of customers. For first 3 customers, 0 plus 0 plus 0. Fourth and fifth customers, 2 plus 2. Sixth customers, 0. So this entire thing you divide it by 6. Got it? So this is very important. Second, probability that customer waits is nothing but what? Number of customers who wait in queue divided by total number of customers. See, you need to remember discrete mathematical structures. Okay, probability, it's very important. See here, what I asked, probability that customers waits in a queue. Okay, see, total I have simulated for how much? 6 customers, right? So that is denominator. Among these 6 customers, how many customers have been made to wait? How many customers have been made to wait? Only 2 customers. They are the 4th customers and 5th customers. Got it? See, listen here. Probability that customers has to wait in a queue is nothing but number of customers who have waited in a queue divided by total number of customers. So how many customers waited in a queue? They are nothing but 2 customers. They are the 4th and the 5th. So 2 by 6. Got it? So probability that customers wait is nothing but 2 by 6 in this case. So average service time, it is very simple. Average service time is total service time. See in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th column, that is service time, right? You sum all those service time, 2 plus 1 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 4. What the value you are going to get? Divided by 6. That is average service time. Got it? Average service time is very clear, right? So average time between arrivals. See, this is where average time between arrivals means average time between arrival is nothing but inter-arrival time. Here is nothing but average inter-arrival time. So in this you have inter-arrival times, right? What are those? 2, 4, 1, 2, 6. Second column, inter-arrival times. Sum those 5 inter-arrival times. Divide by what? 6 or 5? It should be divided by 5 because 1 less, right? Of course, there are 6 customers, but we are given only how many inter-arrival times? 5 inter-arrival times. So it's very important. Listen, it's very important. So average time between arrivals, that is average inter-arrival time, is nothing but sum of all time between arrivals means sum of all inter-arrival times divided by number of arrivals. 6 arrivals minus 1. Got it? So usually students will make mistake in this. Denominator they will fix 6, but that is not 6 in this case. It is 5. So average waiting time of those customers who wait. So average waiting time of those customers who wait means you determine waiting time, total time wait, okay, waiting time divide by 2 in this case because 2 customers have been made to wait, right? The average time customer spends in system. Okay, so what actually average time customer spends in a system means we need to find the time spent by each customer in a system. Then we need to sum those, then divide by n. So in the simulation table, I could have included one more column, time spent in a system. Okay. For example, let me say, what is time spent by ith customer in a system? The time the ith customer arrives to the time the ith customer departs. Got it? I mean, the time spent by ith customer is nothing but the time from his arrival to the time his service ends. Clear? So what is time spent by ith customer in a system? The time from his arrival, got it, to the time his service ends. So assume that I have not included that column. I could have included that column, time spent in a system. Okay, that's nothing but what actually difference between time service ends minus arrival time. Is it? Time spent in a system is nothing but time service ends minus arrival time. So now I computed time spent in a system for all 6 customers assumed in this particular column. Okay, then how to compute the last statistics? Average time customer spends in a system, total time customer spends in a system divided by 6. Clear? So all of you got clear with this. Now it's very important. Okay, uh, see, at any moment of time, okay, I want to have a look at number of customers in the system. See here, listen here. There's one more thing. Apart from the statistics, what I've shown in this slide. Okay. Now, suppose I want to design a graph. That graph should give me number of customers in a system at any point of time. Got it? Listen what I said. I need to design a graph, what you're seeing in this slide. Okay. This graph, y-axis, what is this? Number of customers in the system. X-axis, what is? It is time. Okay. So this graph gives number of customers in the system at any point of time. For example, in this graph, if you look at time 4, there are 0 customers. At time 4, there are 0 customers. Okay. At if you again look at time 16, there are 1 customer. There is only 1 customer. Suppose if you look between time 8 and 9, okay, between this there are 2 customers. So how to construct this graph means, see here, first I need, see, there are 2 types of events occurs in a system: arrival event and departure event. Okay, so first I need to any number of arrival occurred. Totally 6 arrivals occurred, right? Totally 6 departure occurs. Totally how many events occurred? 12 events, of which 6 arrival and 6 departure. Okay, the first and foremost thing, I need to sort, okay, in the chronological order of events. For example, listen here, first I need to sort the events in the order of their occurrence. Okay, in the order of their occurrence. For example, look here, there are 2 events. Listen cautiously. Uh, Listen cautiously. At the first event that is going to occur is what? It's an arrival, right? At time 0. At time 0, first arrival occurs. So first event is arrival event. Look at in the second table, the first column and the third column. The first event is arrival at time 0. So similar, the next event occurs at time 2. That is departure of because it's a departure of customer 1, right? So at time 2, departure of customer occurs. Similar, at the same time too, even the arrival of second customer arrives. So here, at time 0, arrival of first customer. At time 2, departure of first customer and arrival of second customer. Clear? Next, at time 3, event occurs, that is departure of second customer. So here you need to look this first table. Okay, how I got this, how I have arranged in the second table. See, you can look at first table. At time 0, look at 2 columns: arrival time on clock, time service ends. At time 0, arrival of first customer. At time 2, departure of first customer and arrival of second customer. At time 3, departure of second customer. Got it? Next, at time 6, okay, arrival of third customer. Okay. Next, event is at time 7. At time 7, arrival of fourth customer. Next, at time 9, departure of third customer and arrival of fifth customer. Listen, at time 9, departure of third customer and arrival of ninth customer. Got it? So next, At time 11, departure of fourth customer. At time 12, departure of fifth customer. At time 15, arrival of sixth customer. At time 19, departure of sixth customers. Got it? So in the chronological ascending order of time, okay, as the time proceeds, what are the events occurred, I have tracked in the second table. Now, with this, once you have the second table, we can construct the graph easily. See here, now x-axis shows time, right? So x-axis represents time, y-axis represents number of customers. So from time 0 to 2, okay, what happened at time 0, one customer arrives. So in y-axis I will highlight that point 1, and till time 2, okay, at time 2 there was one customer. Who was that customer? Customer 1. But what happened, okay, at time 2, when clock ticks to 2, this customer number 1 will depart. See in the graph, you're looking within the plane, you're seeing numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. What are those? They are the customers number. Who were the customers in the bank? Okay, I'll tell you one. See at time 0, customer 1 arrives. Until time 2, customer 1 is in the bank, right? Now at time 2, what happens? Until time 2, only one customer, and is the customer number 1. At time 2, what happens? This customer 1 will depart. So depart means actually 0 customer will happen, but immediately second customer will arrive. So even at time 2, second customer arrive. So look in the graph, from time to time 3, okay, there's only one customer, and that customer is 2. Clear? Got it? So look in the graph, from 0 to 2, there was only one customer, and that is customer number 1. From 2 to 3, again there was only one customer, because customer 1 departed, customer 2 arrived, and is customer 2. And from 3 to 6, got it? From 3 to 6, there are no customers in the bank. From 3 to 6, you need to analyze carefully. There are no customers in the bank. 3 to 6, there are no customers in the bank. At time 6, what happens? Third customer will arrive. Got it? Third customer will arrive. Next, at time 7, one more customer will arrive, that is 4th. So look, number of customers from see, from time 6 to 7, there was only one customer. There was only one customer. But from 7 to 9, you just look, there are 2 customers, 3 and 4. Got it? Next, similarly from 9 to at the time 9, at time 9, what happened? Customer 3 departs, he will live, but customer 5 will arrive. So from 9 to 11, there are 2 customers, 4 and 5. Okay, you need to analyze this graph, analyze this chronological order of events, and you need to plot this graph. Okay, so just go through this. It's very easier. Just analyze it. Okay. Now we will come to one more problem. Grocery center. Okay. Grocery center. It's very simple. Like previous example. In previous example, I given you 5 inter-arrival time values and 6 service time values. But in this case, I won't specify what are those inter-arrival time values and service time values. Rather, I will tell you some, say, for example, in this case, I'm simulating for 10 customers. Okay. In this case, I'm simulating for 10 customers. So I should give you actually 9 inter-arrival times, but I won't give you 9 inter-arrival times. Instead, I will give you some 9 random numbers. Listen, I won't give you 9 inter-arrival times. Instead, I will give you 9 random numbers. Through those random numbers, you need to decide, you need to determine what is the inter-arrival times. What are those inter-arrival times? See, I repeat, In this case, I won't specify inter-arrival time values and service time values. Here, I'm simulating for 10 customers. So actually, I should give you 9 inter-arrival times and 10 service time values. But I will give you 9 random numbers for inter-arrival time and 10 random numbers for service time. Okay. And through the random numbers, you need to determine what is the value for inter-arrival times and service times. Got it? Through random numbers, okay, you need to determine what actually inter-arrival time value and service time value. Got it? Clear? So now I said, right, inputs usually modeled as probability distribution. So now I'm giving you probability distribution for inter-arrival time and service time. And along with probability distribution of inter-arrival time and service time, I will give you random numbers for each of the customers inter-arrival time and service time. Through that, you need to determine value of inter-arrival time and service time of each customer. Clear? So now have a look at the problem statement. A small grocery store has only one checkout counter. Grocery store means it's like supermarket. Okay. You will go to supermarket. Got it? Will purchase all the groceries. You will place that into trolley bag, right? See, you will enter into supermarket. You will pick all the items you require. You will place into trolley bag. Then where you will take the trolley bag, you will take at a checkout for billing. Then you will depart. Got it? So got it? Clear with this? You will go to supermarket. You will pick all the items. You will place in trolley bag. Trolley. Then you will come at billing section. That is checkout. To checkout means to exit from the market, supermarket. Okay, what has been given? Customers arrive at this checkout counter at random from 1 to 8 minutes apart. See here, what has the customers arrive at this checkout means billing counter at random from 1 to 8 minutes apart. See, it means, see, at billing section, customers will arrive with the trolley, right? What it tells here, the time between the consecutive arrivals of customers at checkout will be in the range 1 to 8 minutes. I repeat, time between the consecutive arrivals of customers with their trolley at billing section will be in range 1 to 8 minutes. Means if the current customer arrived at some time, let it be some time X, okay, the next customer will arrive at that billing section maybe after 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 or up to 8 minutes, but not beyond that. Got it? Means what you will come to know, the inter-arrival times usually will be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 minutes. Got it? Not beyond this. And one more thing is, each possible value of inter-arrival time has the same probability of occurrence. This is very important. Each possible value of inter-arrival time has the same probability of occurrence. See, I have simulated for some n customers. Okay, I assume that I have simulated for n customers. For the n customers means there are n minus 1 inter-arrival times, right? So in this case, actually inter-arrival time values will be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 minutes. So what it says, same probability means all these 8 possible inter-arrival time will have same number of occurrences in this simulation. Means all will have same number of occurrences. Clear? For example, I'll tell you. For example, let me say as simulated for 100 customers. Okay, 100 customers means there will be 99 inter-arrival times, whatever it be. So all 8 values should get same percentage values. That is 12.5. Got it? Means a 12.5% will be 1 minute to see in this 100 inter-arrival. Suppose there are 100 inter-arrival times. Assume simulated for 101 customers, there are 100 inter-arrival times. In this 100 inter-arrival times, 12.5% will be 1 minute, 12.5% will be 2 minutes, 12.5% will be 3 minutes. Similarly, 12.5 minutes will be 8 minutes. All this 8 possible inter-arrival times will be 12.5% occurrence. But that is same probability. The service times vary from 1 to 6 minutes. Okay. Listen here. Service times vary from 1 to 6 minutes, but probability as shown in table. We'll see. So depending on the number of items in your trolley, the billing time may vary, right? Depending on the number of items in the trolley or the check count, the billing time may vary. So what it says that the service time, that is the billing time, may be from 1 to 6 minutes. Got it? Maybe from 1 to 6 minutes. Means for some customers, billing time may be 1 minute, and some customer billing time may be 2, or some customer it may be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 minutes, but not beyond this. Got it? So you got right 2 inter-arrival times and 2 service times. Sorry, 2 inputs, inter-arrival times and service times. But here, first, we are given the probability distribution. See, service time probability, you look at the first table, it gives the probability for service time. Service times, what I said, it may be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. But what is the probability of occurrence? What is the probability that service time will be 1 minute? What is the probability that service time will be 2 minutes? What is the probability that service time will be 3 minutes? What is the probability that service time will be 4 minutes? What is the probability that service time will be 5 minutes? What is the probability that service time will be 6 minutes? It's been given here. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.25, 0.1, 0.05. Means the probability that service time will be 1 will be 0.1. Means 10% of customers will be with service time 1 minute. Similarly, probability that service time will be 2 is 0.2. Means 20% of customers will have probability will have service time 2 minutes. Probability that service time will be 3 minutes is 0.3. Means 30% of customers will have service time 3 minutes. Similarly, got it? So now, what I said, I won't give you values for inter-arrival times and service times. Remember what I said in this example? I won't give you values for service time and inter-arrival times. Instead, what I said, I will give you the probability distribution, and I will give you random numbers. Through random numbers, you need to identify what is the value of inter-arrival time and service time. Okay. See here. So for 6 service times, we know what is probability. Clear? And what about probability of 8 inter-arrival times? It is 1 by 8. Look in this table. Because all 8 possible values for inter-arrival times are the same probability. So 1 by 8. That is nothing but 0.125. Got it? Clear with this? So all 8 inter-arrival times with same probability 0.125. Whereas service times with probability varying. Now, I've given random numbers. See, I'm simulating for 10 customers. I've given 9 random numbers for inter-arrival times. The first is 64, next 112, 678, 289, 871, 583, 139, 423, 039. Means through this random number, I need to identify what is that inter-arrival time, whether it's a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. Got it? And again, I will given 10 random numbers for service times. They are 84, 18, 87, 81, 06, 91, 79, 09, 64, 38. So through this random number, I need to identify what is the service time, whether it's a 1 minute, 2 minute, or 3 minute, or 4 minute, or 5 minute, or 6 minutes. Got it? So to identify, once you identify for this 10 customers, what are 9 inter-arrival times and 10 service times, you will easily construct the table what I taught for previous example, right? Clear? It's very easy, right? So the first thing is you need to know those 9 inter-arrival times and 10 service times. Okay, this is very important. Listen, the first and foremost thing in this case is that you need to identify those 9 inter-arrival times and 10 service times. Okay. Now for this, I'll tell you. because I given 9 random numbers, and for interval times I given 10 random numbers for service times. This random numbers should be translated into what? The values for interval time and service time. Okay. See, I'll tell you how to solve. See, now, see, first and foremost, look here. First, look at first table. What are the possible interval time? That is time between arrivals 1 to 8. What about the probability of each occurrences of each of these 8 values? That's nothing but 1 by 8. Got it? What is the probability of occurrence of each of these 8 values? That is nothing but 1 by 8, because same probability as said. So 0.125, right? So next, third column, you can see first column is very clear. Inter arrival times, possible values are 1 to 8. The next column is probability is given, right? The probability of each of these 8 values are nothing but 1 by 8, right? I repeat, the probability of each of these 8 inter arrival times are same, that is 1 by 8. Got it? So now with this you compute cumulative probability. See, listen, cumulative probability first will be 0.125. Next, 0.125 plus 0.25, that is 0.25. Got it? Next, 0.25 plus 0.125, that is 0.375. Next, 0.375 plus 0.125 is nothing but 0.5. Next, 0.5 plus 0.125 is nothing but 0.625. 0.625 plus 0.125 is nothing but 0.75. 0.75 plus 0.125 is nothing but 0.875. 0.875 plus 0.125 is nothing but 1. At the last, you should get probability 1. So I'll repeat how you are computed for cumulative probability. So first entry will be the 0.125. Then sum to determine next value. Okay, you sum the current value with the probability of the next arrival. Okay, so initially first entry for cumulative probability is 0.125. This is the current cumulative probability value. I should sum with the probability of the next arrival. So what is the probability of next arrival? That is 0.25. So 0.25 plus 0.25, I got 0.250. Sorry, 0.25. Now current cumulative probability is 0.25. With sum with the probability of next arrival, that is 0.125, I'll get 0.375. Similarly, 0.375 plus next arrival's probability, that is 0.25, it's 0.5. This will do. So next, random digit assortment. Okay, this fraction will convert into range of 3-digit numbers. Got it? Because after fraction, I got up to 3 digits, right? So we'll convert this into 3-digit numbers. Okay, first is starting from 1 to 125. Next is after 125, 126 to 250. Next, after 250, after that 251 to 375. After that 376 to 500. After that 501 to 625. After that 626 to 750. After that 751 to 875. After that 876 to 000. Clear? So now, clear with this random digit assignment 1 to 125. Next 126 to 250. Next 251 to 375. 376 to 500. So and so. The last one you should not see, usual mistake. 876 to 1000 you will write. It's not 1000. 876 to 000, because 999 after 999 is 00. We'll roll back. Got it? Now I'll tell you what is the need of this random digit assignment. I'll tell you. Okay. Now let me compute again cumulative probability and random number assignment for service time. Service time distribution is given, right? It's different. Got it? Look at the first table. It's shown the probability of occurrences of service times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.25, 0.1, 0.05 respectively. So I have written in column wise here. Got it? So here first column in the second table is service time. Possible service times are 1 to 6. Their probability is given. There's nothing but 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.25, 0.10, 0.0. So what I said, cumulative probability. First entry will be the same, 0.10. So next entry, how to compute the current cumulative probability with the probability of the next service time. In this case, is the probability of next service time. So 0.1 plus 0.2, 0.30. Similarly, for next 0.30 plus 0.30, 0.60. Next 0.60 plus 0.25 is 0.85. Next 0.85 plus 0.1, 0.95. 0.95 plus 0.05 is nothing but 1. At last, you should get 1. Clear? See, how will come first cumulative probability will be 0.1. To determine next, the current the past cumulative probability value with the next probability of service time. This is how we need to sum. Got it? 0.1 plus 0.2, 0.3. 0.3 plus 0.3, that's 0.6. 0.6 plus 0.25, that's 0.85. 0.85 plus 1, 0.95. 0.95 plus 0.05, that is 1. Got it? So in this cumulative probability, what I observed after fraction, there are only 2 digits. So let me translate this into 2-digit random numbers. The range. So 1 to 10. Got it? Next 11 to 30. Next 31 to 60. Next 61 to 85. Next 86 to 95. 96 to 00. Okay. Now I'll tell you what is the need of random digit assignment in both the cases. See what I said? For you, in this example, I won't give you values of inter-arrival times and service times. Instead, I will give probability distribution for each of the possible inter-arrival times and each of the possible service times. I repeat, I will give you probability distribution for each of the possible inter-arrival times and each of the possible service times. Through that probability distribution, what you should generate, you need to generate this random digit assignment. And you know how to generate this random digit assignment? Clear? It's very clear. So in this case, I'm simulating for 10 customers. So you should have 9 inter-arrival times and 10 service times, right? But I won't give you the values. Instead, what I said, I will give you 9 random numbers for inter-arrival times and 10 random numbers for service times, like what you can see in this slide. See a last table, random numbers. So first inter-arrival time is always dash because first customer arrives at checkout at time 0. Got it? So next inter-arrival time is 0, random number, what I give? 064. So what actual 64, what time it represents? Okay, it of course it's representing one of the possible 8 values, that is 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. But 64, what value it represents, you need to look in this random digit assignment. So 64 is in the range 1 to 125, right? So 1 to 125, between in this range 64 exists. So that represents inter-arrival time to be 1. So inter-arrival time for second customer is 1 minute. See here, I have written in table. See here, inter-arrival time, that is 64. Okay, is in the range 1 to 125. 64 is in the range 1 to 125. It represents inter-arrival time as 1 minute. Got it? So similarly, so what is the next number? That is 112. So 112, again it's in the range 1 to 125. So inter-arrival time for third customer is also 1 minute. Got it? So look here, inter-arrival time for third customer is also 1 minute. Okay. So next, let me take the last. Okay, let me look at the one more next random number, that is 678. Inter-arrival time for fourth customer, right? So 678 is in the range 626 to 750. 678 is in the range 626 to 750. It represents inter-arrival time to be 6 minutes. Got it? So similarly, for the given random numbers, you need to identify which range it belongs, and that range represents the inter-arrival time. Okay. Next, similarly, for service time, okay, first service time is 84, right? Random number of first service time is 84. So let me look. So 84 is in fourth row. That is 61 to 85. So what is service time? 61 to 85. It's 4 minutes. So first customer service time is 4 minutes. Sorry, one thing, that is last number you should change. Actually, one mistake has been done. The header in third column should not be inter-arrival time. It's a service time. Okay, just make a correction. Yeah, I've written inter-arrival time. That's a service time. Got it? In this service time table, not in the arrival time table. Okay, in service time table, the third column header, that is inter-arrival time, should be replaced as service time. Got it? So next, what is second random number of service time? That is 18. Got it? So let me look. 18 is in the range 11 to 30, right? So service time is 2 minutes. So for second customer, service time is 2 minutes. So hope you got it right. Given random numbers, how to translate that random numbers into values. Okay, for inter time and service time. So clear. So now you're simulating for 10 customers. Got it? You have inter-arrival time of all 10 customers. Got it? Of which first customer assumed to be arrive at time 0. Got it? Now we have 9 inter-arrival times and 10 service times. Got it? Here, third data is a service time. So now you will construct this table, right? So again, here see, like in the previous table, okay, but 2 columns are not included there, right? Waiting time of each customer and time spent in a system of 8 customer, right? Clear? The same thing here. See, I have inter-arrival time. From that, I'll come to know what is arrival. Got it? Inter-arrival time is an input. Okay. From that, I'll determine arrival time. Okay. So actually, in third column, arrival time for first customer is shown as a dash, right? That is not dash. That is actually 0. But inter-arrival time for first enter of inter-arrival time should be dash, but arrival time in clock for first entry should be 0. I have written dash, but that's 0. See, inter-arrival time, you know, so now you will determine arrival time. So even you know what is service time, right? So there may be customer might be delayed, made to wait in a queue or may not. You can analyze and you will know when service will begin. Got it? Got it? So waiting time, what is waiting time? Is nothing but service begin minus arrival. Got it? So you know what is service time. Got it? So when you know when service is going to begin, you know automatically when service is going to end. Got it? The same statistics, the same way what we have constructed previous table, but here 3 extra columns. One is waiting. Waiting time is nothing but difference between service begin minus arrival. Next, time spent in a system is nothing but service end minus arrival. Time spent in a system is nothing but service end minus arrival. Okay. Next, time idle means, see, while simulating, I have observed for some duration of time, server is found to be idle. Means none of the customers were in the bank. Let me come to that graph. See, in this graph, look at the time between 3 to 7, 3 to 6, I suppose. Between time 3 to 6 and 12 to 15, server was idle, right? Got it? So 3 to 6, 3 minutes, and 12 to 15 again 3 minutes, I suppose. So for total 6 minutes server was idle. Okay, so to track that, I've used one more column, time idle, to track the server was idle for how long. Okay, so clear with the previous table, the same thing except the 3 extra columns. One is waiting time, time spent in system, time idle. Now we'll measure some statistics. Average waiting time. So what is average waiting time? Total customers or total time all customer will wait, divided by total number of customers. Got it? So look in this waiting time. Look at a column waiting in queue. The total waiting time is 19. So number of customers 10. So average waiting time is 19 by 10. Got it? So next, probability that customers waits means customers wait. Total customers are 10. Among those customers, how many customers have waited? We need to determine. Okay. See here. See, in waiting in queue, we find number of customers who have waited were customer number 2, 3, 4, 5, then customer number 8 and customer number 10. So total 6 customers were waited, were delayed, were made to wait in a queue. So probability that customers wait is 6 by 10. Okay. Probability of idle server. Okay. Probability of idle server means total time server was idle divided by total runtime. Okay. See, in this case, at the last column, okay, I will find 3 minus server was idle. 3 minus server was idle. Okay. But in this total runtime, we will get in the last second column, that is 52. Among 52 minus 3 minus server was idle. I repeat, among 52 minus 3 minus server was idle. So, probability of idle server is 3 by, that's actually, let me rectify. Service, sorry, not 52. Sorry, sorry, it's not 50. It is, look at third column, service end. The last customer service ends at 36, right? Means until clock fixed to 36, I have simulated. So total runtime is 36. In 36, 3 times server was idle. So 3 by 36 is the probability of idle time of server. So probability of busy time of server is nothing but 1 minus idle time. Probability of idle time. Similarly, average service time, rest everything will compute. Okay. With this last row. This is about today's session. Thank you for listening.